Hello, welcome to my Thursday afternoon Facebook Live, sharing inspiration with you, hopefully inspiring you to get into your card making and have fun and try new things. Today I'm sharing with you a project using this lovely Memorable Blooms bundle. So it includes this stamp set and, this dies, so 1, 2, 3 dies there and some layering dies there as well. Okay, and the stamp set has these gorgeous flowers and some really lovely greetings. I do have to show you before I get started though, one of my absolutely gorgeous customers gave me a card that arrived in the mail today featuring this stamp set. She's used that beautiful image there and cut it out, coloured it many times to create that gorgeous wreath. Look at that beautiful colouring. What a wonderful wreath. Thank you, Pamela, for your lovely card. It was a beautiful surprise, and the shiny envelope was a great idea today. We've had a lot of rain. Okay, so back to my project. This project is actually a technique project. It features lots of techniques featuring our Stampin Write markers. Okay, and it also features the lovely, there's my pieces of paper to make my card, flowers and stripes, cards and envelopes in our mini catalogue. I think our cards, pre-printed cards and envelopes are a great way of getting started if you just don't want to invest in too much cardstock. Let me show you where they are. They're here. Stripes and Florals Mix and Match Cards and Envelopes, $17.50. They're a really good starting point for any card, and they're advertised in the catalogue with the Mix and Match suites, but I'm just using it for a standard card. Okay, so I've got my panel for inside my card, and obviously I've lost some bits somewhere in all my reshuffling, so I'll just do the front of the card. And I've also got these two pieces. I've done a little bit of die cutting already, so you don't have to wait for me to die cut. This is two-tone cardstock. If you have a look, I'll fold it over. This is the Pool Party two-tone cardstock. It has a darker tone and a lighter tone. And the exciting thing about this two-tone cardstock is when you tear it, I'm just going to tear this right down here, you get a white core when you tear the cardstock, and then I can layer them both on each other, and you've got your white and your dark edges of your cardstock, and they're going to slide underneath here. I'm going to tear this edge too. Maybe I'll do that right now before I get started on my stamping and showing you all the things I want to show you with the markers. Okay. Pop that aside, pop that aside, pop that aside. First thing I'm going to use for this is my block. This is the D block, actually one of the most used blocks in my collection, I think. And I'm going to use some Lemon Lolly Stampin' Write marker and just scribble that all over the block without any sort of worry about whether it's going to scribble some Pool Party over the block. I think I've overlapped there a little bit. And then some Bubble Bath on the bottom of the block. Okay. So I've got 3 colours there. And then with my spritzer, which has just got water in it, we sell these. I'm just going to, I'll move my cardstock out of the way. Oh, make sure it goes the right direction, Julia. And I'm going to use that to stamp a background on my cardstock. Just going to leave it there for a minute for it to absorb the ink, and then lift off, and I've got a cool background. Now if I wanted to, I should actually do some more stamping on it. I wonder if, because I'm using it on the glass mat, I wonder if I used my piercing mat, whether that would give me more ink coverage. There you go. I've created texture by stamping it again and again. Lovely, lovely. And that's just a little bit of background. Another way to create background with your markers is to flick them. So this can wreck the tips of your brush tip end of your marker. I should do a marker tour first. There are two ends on the markers. These are water-based ink pads, which means they're great for colouring and doing all sorts of things, which also means that you can do this background technique because it blends with the water. So you've got your brush tip end, which has a wider white line on the barrel, and then your bullet tip end, which is brilliant for journaling, and it's got the narrower tip on the end. And then to flick some of the ink off the tip, I'll pop it inside my lid and just gently brush it across the edge, and then it adds tiny specks of colour. And it's doing lots of little flicking there. I'll hold that up so you can see what that looks like. Tiny little specks of colour. Now this is Lost Lagoon. I'll show you what it looks like with our stamping blends. This one's Lost Lagoon also. Yep. So these guys have exactly the same as the marker. They have a brush tip end, which has the wider bar on the barrel, and then the bullet tip end, which is great for colouring. Okay, these ones are alcohol. You cannot do that technique on the block because this is a permanent marker. It'll mark your block and it won't absorb the water and flow. But when you can do exactly the same as I did with before with the flicking, but with these ones, I tend to find I get a much deeper and thicker splotches. Okay, so there's the Lost Lagoon. The really fine ones came from the Stampin' Write marker, and then the thicker ones came from the blender pen. Okay, so that's the first bit technique. The next technique you can do with your markers is to colour stamps in different colours. Okay, this works best with your red rubber stamps. All right. It is possible with the photopolymer, but doesn't work as well. So, again, with the brush tip end of my marker, I'm just going to colour the word awesome. Colour there, colour, 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 colour. We are having fewer and fewer red rubber stamps in our collection these days, so this might be a bit tricky. Now, what will I do the you are? What did I do on that previous one? I did pool party. Okay, so pool party, brush tip end, and just colour that. Now, you might be worried that it's drying onto the stamp. Because it's water-based, it's easily washed off. And it doesn't really dry here in our moist Queensland humidity. However, if you do find it dries out, there's an easy way to re-moisten your stamp, and that's to huff on it. So, and then I can stamp "You are awesome" onto my card. Okay, you are awesome. Now, because I did the pool party over the lemon lolly, it hasn't come out quite so well, but the awesome has, which is lovely. All right, now I'm going to layer these two bits of my torn two-tone cardstock. One there. Here we go. And then layer this edge over the top of that. I've got my triple torn edge, and then I can pop that onto my card front. Okay, there's my background all done. I've used my markers to mark a block and flicked, and also used two colours to create my greeting there. Now I want to make my little die cut image here. Here we are. I'm just going to pop this out I don't want to tear it coming out of the die. So I'm just trying to be very careful with it, because the two-tone cardstock is not as heavy weight as our normal cardstock, so it does tear a bit easier. Just very carefully lift it out of my die here. There we go. I just need to start one end, then I can peel it. All right. Okay, now with my little frond here, I could leave it just like that with my flower over the top, which I might do for something different on this card. But I'm going to now stamp my flower on a piece of scrap paper that I've obviously used on another project. I've been working on cards all day. Hang on. There we go. Now get my little flower, pop that on my block, and once again, using my markers, I'm going to colour the line image of the outline of the flower. There we go. All there. And then Lost Lagoon for the leaves. Do them last, because Lost Lagoon is a much darker colour. And I can colour easily over the bubble bath, but I don't want to use my bubble bath marker over the top of the Lost Lagoon. Okay, puffing again, and stamp, and hold, leave that for a bit. And then I'm going to, there we go, colour that flower using my Wink of Stella. And just adding Wink of Stella to where it's already inked up means that it will blend that colour a little bit. Wink of Stella is the same as, and in fact if I wanted to add more pink to my flower, more bubble bath, I can put a little bit of colour on my block. And adding a little bit of colour there with my marker and my Wink of Stella. Okay. And then I can get my die, which I had here a second ago. What do I do with it? Oh, here it is, here. Layer that over the top. And then just gonna grab my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And cut that little flower out. Using your base plate, bottom cutting mat, cardstock and die, top cutting plate, and then wind it through. Very easy. There we go. Now we're able to pop this over the end of our... Now I think I will chop that in half. I'm going to trim it right here and then add some glue to the back of my flowers and add one bit of leafery that way, one bit of leafery that way, there we go, and a dimensional on the back of them. Lots of little components to this card, but they all use our Stampin' Write markers. Here we go, pop that in there. And the last thing is our antique pearls, because antique pearls are so pretty. Here we go. Couple here. Oops. Is it raining where you are today? We're having a lot of rain right at the moment. which makes it a bit tricky traveling on the roads. Here we go. You are awesome. 2 different ways done with markers, Stampin Write markers, water-based markers on a block, and multiple colours on a stamp, and also flicking for a little bit of background detail. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye.